Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Discover Your Potential segment, brought to you by The Wellness Way, we're joined by our regular contributor, podcaster, and host, Anna Devere. And today she's joined by our dear friend, supermodel turned super mogul, Kathy Ireland. She's the CEO and chair of Kathy Ireland Worldwide, and according to License Global, the world's 14th most successful brand and the most valuable woman-owned licensing company in American history, and that's according to WWD. Now, as one of the U.S.'s most successful self-made women, she's here to chat about her incredible journey, advice for young entrepreneurs, and the importance of giving back. Welcoming now to the show is the beautiful Kathy Ireland and my dear co-host, Anna Devere. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Thank you,
Thank
Zen.
you. Thank you. So
Kathy,
so great to be with both of you, Zen and Anna.
Thank you.
thanks, Kathy. We're so honored that you're joining us in this April month. It just so happens to be the National Month for Hope. And you are an advocate for so many nonprofit organizations, including the March of Dimes and the American Cancer Society. And you're an ambassador for Hope for the City of Hope, and too many others to mention. The list goes on and on. Now, UCLA named you as one of the top 10 women's health advocates in America today. What inspired you to focus on nonprofits and health organizations serving women and children?
Thank you, Zen. I've had the extreme blessing of being exposed to needs far bigger than me and opportunities far bigger than me. Growing up, mom and dad really pointed out just how people live and sadly oppression of people and the needs that are real and tangible. So what a wonderful opportunity to be able to make a difference. It's something we can all do, no matter our economic situation. There is always something we can do.
But incredibly, it's one thing that to reach your level of business and entrepreneurial success, but it's such another to then use that success to give back. And that's just what you've done. So kudos to you. Now, I know Anna has some questions, so I'll hand it off to her. Take it away, Anna.
Yeah, I'm so glad you talked about alignment, Kathy, because that's really why we started Discover Your Potential. And, there are topics now that are more relevant than ever. I want to talk about one. It's been almost 2 years since the premiere of Anxious Nation, your documentary that addresses the life-threatening crisis of anxiety. Can you talk a little bit about the journey of this film, from like what inspired you and what are some of your biggest takeaways from that journey?
Thank you, Anna. Oh my goodness. So my dear friend Laura Morton, who is a 21-time New York Times best-selling author, and Vanessa Roth, who is an Academy Award-winning director. This was something that was personally impacting them, although I don't know anybody who's not personally impacted by this in some way. And when I learned about what they were doing, I asked how I could help. So, executive producing this has really been a joy. What I appreciate about this documentary is the recognition that every individual is different. And so it's not a one size fits all solution. I also appreciate that the professionals who were interviewed, this is about several young people, kids who are suffering with anxiety, their families, how it impacts the entire family, and then the professionals who seek to help. And I appreciate that they recognize that for some people, uh, there is a need for medication, yet they also recognize that it is so frequently overprescribed and
Mhm.
that people are not having an opportunity to get to the root of what is causing this and to really make the needed changes rather than cover it up. But everyone has a different story and there's a different approach to it, and I just think we have to take a really honest look at how are we impacting our kids? Do we have fear ourselves that we're transmitting? Kids are smart. They pick it up. They pick up, the energy, the nuance. Do we have the news on all the time? I mean,
Mm.
what is that? And how do we honestly approach life with our eyes wide open and without fear?
And I love how Anxious Nation and its message was and continues to be absolutely critical because anxiety disorders are the most common mental health concern in the US. And according to the National Institute of Mental Health, there's over 40 million adults in the US that have an anxiety disorder, and most people develop the symptoms before they turn 21. So our youth is at the butt of this. Now, this is a very real concern, and you've been quoted saying no one is exempt from anxiety. Absolutely no one. Our coping methods will differ. However, anxiety is real and must be addressed. Anxious Nation is the beginning. Now, looking towards yourself, Kathy, is there any daily or weekly practice that you feel contributes most to your mental and emotional well being in order to sustain a positive mindset? Because you are one of the most positive, upbeat people that I have met.
Oh, thank you, Zen. You know what? Life is hard. It just is. And we got to come to grips with that, but not be defeated. So to answer your question, for me, it's it's my relationship with Jesus. That's what it is. And in my favorite book, it says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in all things with praise and supplication, make your requests known to God, and the peace that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." I cannot and will not impose my faith on anyone else. Yet, anybody who wants to know, thank you for asking the question. Uh, that is before I get out of bed in the morning, Zen. I, I, my first meeting of the day is with the Lord, and my last meeting of the day is with Him. And when I don't do that, when I try to just get through life on my own strength and just muster up, whatever that is, I usually make a big mess out of it. And by 7 a.m., I'm apologizing to someone because something's flown out of my mouth. I still struggle and stumble. We all
Yeah.
do. We're all failed. Yet that's what it just helps. It gives me perspective and, Anna, with potential. Yeah,
Mm.
I love that because there's so much potential. And then as you both are talking about anxiety and depression and how it just paralyzes us. And it is not what we were made for. We've got value. I mean, each one of us, we're unique. There's nobody else like us. And there is so much potential. So I just encourage people, don't let anybody just feed you the lies that you can't do something, you're not valuable enough or whatever. It's just a bunch of lies. So we got to
Mm.
just get rid of that and recognize each one of us has value, and it's not based on what our bank account looks like or what we can do or what we look like, any of that superficial stuff that can be gone instantaneously. It's I believe it's because who made us, and He doesn't make mistakes.
Now you
Mm.
can add motivational speaker to your
I
long
know.
list of accomplishments.
I know. My next question really pertains to this, but it might be the same answer, Kathy. But thank you for bringing up value and potential, because that's really what we are hoping to impart to the audience listening is just your sense of value is everything in how you appear in life. But I'm kind of going towards balancing your career and your personal life. And how do you strike a balance, Kathy? It might be the same answer, but can you
Mhm.
go any deeper, or what advice would you give people that are striving for balance in life?
It's such a great question, Anna. And some days I'm not balanced at all. It's hard. I think we
Same.
put too much pressure on ourselves. Like we have to have everything, balanced and do everything. I was in my 40s before I learned that no is a complete sentence. And I think, especially in speaking with women, we're really good at multitasking. And we can be really good at what we do. So I think we tend to take on too much. And for some of us, it can be an issue of control. It can be many things, or we just want to be helpful. We don't want to say no. We don't want to hurt someone's feelings. We want to be there for them, but uh, we can't do everything well. And something I love. Someone told me years ago. Oh, this wonderful wise man, he said, we have to say no to good things in effort to say yes to great things. And that's so true. So I recognize that putting our priorities in place is important. So each person, I think it's important for each individual to recognize what is important to you. What are your values? So for me, it's my faith and my family, and then being in service through our work. And that's the order. When that order gets messed up, I'm not feeling it, and I'm a mess. And we've got to put boundaries in place to protect those priorities, those values. They will be challenged. They're likely going to be challenged daily, but got to put. And sometimes it might just sound very elementary, but I'll take Post-its and I'll just stick it around the house and
Yeah,
places that I'm gonna look to remind me,
right.
and that's really helpful, but I can't accept every business opportunity, and that's okay, and I can't be at, every friend's birthday party, even when I love
Mhm.
them. I might have to celebrate another day. That's okay too. We just have to recognize only so many hours in a day. How are we going to spend it each day? And just really stand firm on what our values are.
Yep. Balance is key. And while one's career, may feel all consuming, finding that balance and stepping away and taking time to focus on personal life, whether that means family, hobbies, or other passions, can actually make you a better employer or even employee and improve both quality
Yes.
of work and quality of life. So it's important to find how you strike that balance. Now, you've been described by Forbes magazine as one of America's wealthiest self-made women. In your transition from modeling to acting to business, was there a pivotal moment that led you to branch into entrepreneurship?
Zen, I've really been an entrepreneur since I was a little kid. In my first job, I was 4 years old selling rocks from my wagon that I would paint. I was that annoying kid going door to door trying to wash people's cars, water their plants, whatever. So I've always worked. My mom, the ultimate entrepreneur, from starting her own babysitting service, housekeeping business, to going back to school, to becoming a nurse, making clothes, selling them at art fairs, and just so she could always do anything. And watching her pivot as life is continually changing gave me that courage that I could always do anything for a living. So what a wonderful gift to not have that fear, and to know that we can adapt and do different things. And it's far more powerful to initiate positive change than simply react to the change that is coming. So to be anticipatory, keep our eyes on the horizon, our ear to the ground, and recognize that. So the modeling was not part of the plan. It ended up being a great education for business. And Zen, something you said about our family responsibilities, and that it makes us a better person. I have to say, some of my strongest CEO skills come from my mom's skills. I mean,
Yeah.
conflict resolution, time management,
No
navigating
kidding.
personalities, all of it.
Yeah.
It's those mom skills.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't beat the mom, and
Yeah.
especially the moral compass when you have a child. That child is watching your every move, mimicking your behavior, just absorbing everything. And it's our job not to mess them up. It's our job to be
It's
that role model.
It's
So
it's
really
always
hard.
there.
It's really, really hard.
Well,
So it's, yeah.
can you tell me about a particular challenge though, and as your rise to where you took your brand, was there any time that you took a challenge and turned it into an opportunity that our audience might really relate to actually?
Oh, great question. In the beginning, so we started with a pair of socks. In the beginning, we were in a handful of sporting goods stores. Big Five was one of our retail partners, great people. Major mass retailers started carrying the socks. And everything changed. We were just, people talk about small businesses. I prefer to think of them as independent businesses, because when you pour your heart and soul into your business, it's not small. So independent. Um, we had to take out the first in a series of loans to get started. People said we were crazy, can't start a brand with a pair of socks. I mean, every kind of naysaying, and those
Mhm.
were the kind people. So every kind of comment. A big pivot was when this mass retailer, who our company became dependent on, they went bankrupt, and that was hard. We were in debt and starting over and pulling a lot of 24/7s and just changing course, but not being defeated. It's like, all right, this is where we are. What are we going to do moving forward? We had already made some plans to move into the home industry. But this was a completely different retail channel. This was the independent retail channel. And again, people said you can't, start at mass and then go into the independent channel. It's never been done. It's never been done does not mean that it can't be done. So don't let excuses stop you from living your dream. You got to get the information, do the research. But when you have a clear goal and you've done the research on the path to get there, you just move forward and don't let the naysayers stop you. So we went into the home industry and a lot of work, but what a great industry, great people, and so many lessons along the way.
And this
Wow.
is exactly why you've been and continue to be a role model for many through your success and your resilience. But in looking back to the beginning, when you were just starting off and talking to us about all these hurdles, what advice would you give to the young entrepreneurs starting out there, aspiring to really make their mark and discover their true business potential? What do you say to them?
I would say, know what it is that you want to accomplish. Don't assume anything. Some of my biggest mistakes I've made in both traditional business and nonprofit have been from assuming and assuming people are going to think the same way I do and approach things the same way I do. Get it in writing, get it really clear. And once you've gone through, it might feel cold, especially if you're working with friends or family, whatever. You got to do it to protect the relationships. Once every I is dotted and T is crossed, you can put those contracts away, treat each other as family, and move forward in that team spirit. But really know what you're doing and how you're doing it. That's one thing for certain. And also to that young entrepreneur, know what differentiates you. What is your distinctive? What sets you apart from the crowd? How are you going to? When I had a paper route, Zed, I know we've talked about this before, but great advice my dad gave me when I was 11 years old. He said, Kathy, if the customer expects the newspaper on the driveway, you put it on the front porch. And he said, always give 110%. So that was the foundation of my learning to under promise and over deliver. And it's something I believe in today and seek to accomplish. It's not always easy, but we've got to get all the needed information so that we can accomplish that. What are the expectations of the person with whom I'm working? I got to understand those expectations so I can exceed them.
You're such a good
And
motivational speaker.
I agree. I'm like,
oh,
I've gotten so many takeaways, and I've got Post-it notes now in my head that are going on the mirror. Kathy,
what?
you're a
Thank
beacon of hope.
you.
We could go on and on about your accomplishments, but what is next for you, and why do you have hope for the future? What are you looking at in the next decade?
As far as our work goes, we started with a mission of finding solutions for families, especially busy moms. And today it's solutions, and it's solutions for everyone. So, as far as our work goes, it's continuing to be alert. And I love the people that we serve. It's men and women, yet it's primarily women. And I love how direct she is with me, the information she lets me know. She lets me know when she's happy and when she's not, when we got to do it better. So listening to her and serving her, that's wonderful. And then it's a hard world. I mean, when we recognize what's going on around the world from Israel to Burma to Haiti to Sudan, there's a lot to our own country. there's a lot going on. There's a lot to be done. And so I just want to be ready and able to not react, but respond to whatever is going on in whichever way that I can. And that inspires me. And I seek to, you asked earlier about balance. While I don't accomplish it every day, it's really important. I have a dear friend. Her name is Fanchen Stinger, and she has a nonprofit called Grit and Grace. It's a mentoring program for girls. So, Fanchen, I mean, she's just this awesome woman involved in bull riding. And, just, you think of a
I
bull
like
as
it.
it's like a 2,000 pound animal that just wants to buck you off. That's the whole purpose of it. And the bull riders holding on with one hand, the other hand hold it up, and they just have to stay on for 8 seconds. But we think about, they get bucked off, they get back on again. And the world is going to buck us off. We fall down, we get right back up again. And we learn. We don't try to make the same mistake twice, but we learn from what the world would call failures. To me, that's education. That's my school, and we just keep going another day.
Beautiful. We could go on, but we are officially at the end of this segment. Kathy, you are amazing. Thank you so much for coming on here and really being the biggest cheerleader and motivational speaker that we've had on in quite some time. And we've had many, many experts on. But you're the next level of positivity and really, you know, laying out the roadmap to success. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you both so much.
That was our Discover Your Potential segment, sponsored by The Wellness Way. That was the incredible supermodel turned super mogul and CEO and chair of Kathy Ireland Worldwide, our dear friend Kathy Ireland. Definitely be sure to visit her on the website at kathyireland.com and follow her on the gram at Kathy Ireland. Of course, to see more of Anna, you could head to discoveryourpotentialshow.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.